I'm Todd, and we're with Drops of Life.
And today my husband is going to show us how to make the best dessert you ever eaten.
This really is a great recipe and a great dessert, and it's one of the good things about it. It's really simple to make, and it's going to be one of the absolutely best desserts you've ever eaten. You're going to love it.
My love, how did you come up with that recipe?
Well, that's a good question. I didn't actually come up with the recipe. When I was 10 years old, I would go visit my great-grandmother, and she would sit me down in her kitchen and serve me some of the best pecan pie I have ever eaten in my life. About, 7 years ago, one of my sisters came up with Great-Grandma Pearl's best ever chocolate pecan pie recipe. And that's what we're going to be using today. Grandma was born back in the 1800s. So the recipe, probably she was using a wood stove to cook it, and she was certainly using all natural ingredients. So we've had to kind of modify it a little bit to make it work today. That is where the recipe actually came from.
Wow, that's great. And okay, so where do you want to start?
Well, let me walk through the ingredients and share that with everybody, because it is important to have the very best ingredients and the things that are closest to what Great-Grandma used to use. But as I'm looking at all these ingredients, I have a question for you. Do you have a Bible verse for us today that will relate to all these really delicious ingredients, or to the process we're going to use, or to have something to do with this delicious pecan pie we're going to bake?
Well, actually, I do.
And what would that verse be?
And it's Romans 12:6.
Romans 12:6. Okay, I see that. Yeah, okay.
Well, that verse talks about gifts. And it's saying that each of us, and actually all of us, get gifts that are given by God.
Okay.
And we can use, actually, I can tell you which ones, as little examples. So one of the gifts is being a leader.
Okay.
Another one is being a teacher.
Okay.
Or the gift of giving, the gift of encouraging others, the gift of prophecy.
Okay.
And there are so many more.
And you can apply all of those into a church setting.
Yeah.
And how would all that work? All those people having the different gifts, how does that work in a church? Does that create a big conflict?
No, not at all. Each gift is very unique.
Okay.
And they are actually to help everybody come together and complement each other, and they can build the church.
With all those different gifts being used together in a church, and all of them we know that they're all complementing each other, well, which one of those gifts is the most important?
Actually, they are all equally important. Like, let's say, for instance, the pastor, which is another gift, is not more important than the teacher. Each of them has a special function that when they're being utilized together, it's going to complement each other.
Okay. Well, I can see how that Bible verse will really apply to what we're doing here today, especially when we start talking about the ingredients. So let me jump in and start talking about all the different ingredients, okay? The first one we have is the butter. And you just want to soften that up and let it cool down. And
but wait, can that be margarine, or it has to be butter?
No, it can't be margarine. It actually, you want to use real butter. Back when Great-Grandma started making this, there was no margarine. Then the next ingredient we have is sugar. This is the sugar that I have.
Does it have to be brown sugar?
Domino, regular granulated table sugar is perfect. Don't use brown sugar, because brown sugar will have more of a molasses taste, and that will affect the taste of the pie. So make sure that you use just regular sugar, and you'll be fine.
Okay.
So I'll give you that back.
Okay.
The next ingredient that I have is the syrup. And this is one that Grandma Pearl called out by name, Karo dark corn syrup. You don't want to use light corn syrup, and use this brand. I've substituted other brands. It is not the same pie. Now, a word of caution on this. This Karo dark corn syrup is like liquid gold this time of year. Everybody's going to be making pies for Thanksgiving and Christmas. They're going to be in the stores grabbing this up. You're going to struggle to find it if you wait too late. Okay, the next ingredient that I have is just pure vanilla. I like the pure vanilla versus the imitation. The eggs, you could use any eggs. We use cage-free eggs. We find that they have a better taste, and we prefer to use eggs where they're actually treating the chickens better. The next ingredient is salt, and for that one, we just use regular table salt. Morton salt, whatever it is you have to use, that'll work fine on this. Then we get to the pecans, and you're going to use pecan halves. And the kind of rule of thumb on this is just make sure they're fresh. You know, we buy them in a big bag like this one. You can get whatever brand you want. You can pick them anywhere. Just make sure you use fresh ones. If you've got a half a bag left in the cabinet that you rolled up and put a clip on last year for Christmas, don't use those. Get a fresh bag and that'll be fine. And then the last ingredient we have is the chocolate chips, and she put this by name to use the Nestle Tall House chocolate chips. So that's what I always go with, and it works great. So
I can tell Grandma was very specific.
She was specific, and she was a great cook. I never had a bad meal at Grandma's house. So I'm trying to follow what she laid out, and if I do it like she said, this is just an amazing dessert. You're going to love it. All right, so from there, let's get into actually making the pie. And I got the recipe laying right here, and it tells us to melt the butter and let it cool. And then I will take that. It tells us to beat the sugar, syrup, and vanilla until smooth. And this is one of the few times that a guy actually gets to use a power tool in the kitchen. So I'm going to do this part, and my lovely assistant will be putting the ingredients in. So first thing we want to do, and I'm going to put this on a low speed, we want to add the sugar. Okay. And then we want to put the syrup in.
With the syrup, I have to use a spatula here so I can make sure it's all... the cup is going to be all clean.
And the neat thing about the Karo syrup I found is if you use it right out of the bottle, there's a little window on there that'll show you when you put a half a bottle in, and that's exactly what you need to do one pie with. And the next ingredient we're going to add is vanilla, and the recipe is in the description below, and I'm going to put little footnotes of the brands that either I or Grandma recommended. Then we're going to add in the eggs and the salt. And I'm not good at breaking eggs, so this is great that Judy is here to do this, and she's going to get every little bit of the egg out and get it in there. Okay, and the last ingredient we have is going to be the salt. And I'm going to stop right here for a second because it just makes me think about the last ingredient for the pecans and the chocolate. We got this little half a teaspoon of salt, and then you got this whole big cup of pecans. And so you know, going back to Judy's verse, which is the most important? It's a pecan pie, so you would think the pecan's the most important. But the pecan by itself, it's really a good nut, but it's not a pie. And without the rest of the ingredients, it can't be a pie. And then you look at this little bit of salt that we're going to add in and you go, well, how would that even make a difference? And by itself, it can't be a pie. But the salt, what it actually does is this little bit of salt will enhance the flavors of all the other ingredients and help to pull them together and just really makes them pop. When you eat that pie, you go, wow, that is a great tasting pie. So I'm going to give this to my lovely assistant, and she's going to add that in. And you just kind of want to beat all that in there really well. Make sure it's all real stirred and they're good to go. And I'm going to give that to you. Okay, next we have the pecans, and we're just going to kind of fold those in.
You want me to mix them?
Yeah, just kind of stir them up. Okay, and then we're going to add the chocolate chips.
And I was wondering if for the chocolate chips, why don't you put them to be mixed with a mixer too?
Well, as much as I would love to use the power tool on those, if you at this point use the mixer to blend all this up, and she's just folding it in, you know, she stirred it a little bit, and that's fine. If you use the mixer right now, you're going to pour it into the pie crust, and you're going to be expecting this wonderful pecan pie to come out. But what's actually going to come out of the oven is going to be this chocolate brownie cake type mess that doesn't look anything like what you're expecting it to look like. And you're going to really be disappointed. So at this point, just fold it in. And then the last thing we have is the pie crust. And Grandma Pearl tried to make the recipes as simple as possible because she knew that everybody else in the family was going to be trying to follow them. So when pie crust became available, you could buy, she added that to the recipe. And this is just a Pillsbury, but make sure it's a deep dish pie crust. Now, if you want to make your own pie crust, that would be great. And if you do that, leave something in the comments below to let us know how that worked out for you. But I use just a basic pie crust because I don't want to take away from the flavor of the pecan pie. So this works kind of well. And so now we're just going to add everything into the pie crust, pour it all in there. And
it looks amazing.
And that's why you got to have the deep dish because it takes it to hold everything. All right, now we're getting to the baking part. And the baking part again is kind of tricky. I've burned a lot of pies. I've had undercooked pies. I've had just everything you can imagine. And I finally figured out how to do this. If you have a convection oven, which is an oven that has a fan in it that moves the heat around evenly, it's really easy. Put it on 375, and she says to cook it between 40 and 55 minutes. So just kind of keep an eye on it, and I'll explain to you what you're looking for in just a second. That'll work well. All the ovens I've ever had before this oven weren't convection ovens. They're just regular ovens. Problem I would have, I'd put it in there for 40, 55 minutes, and it would burn the top or burn the crust, and then the inside still wouldn't be cooked. If you're having a problem with burning the outer pie crust, you can get one of these pie crust protectors. You can pick them up at Walmart, Amazon, wherever, and it just fits over the edge of the pie and lets you cook the pie. If that doesn't work for you and the top is still burning and the inside of the pie isn't getting cooked, then what I've done with that is just to place a sheet of aluminum foil over top of the whole pie. You put the whole pie in, cook the pie at 375 for about 45 minutes, okay? Then pull the aluminum foil off. And at that point, you've cooked a lot of the inside of the pie and you're just kind of browning it. So cook it for about another 15 minutes at 375. Keep an eye on it, see if it's brown like the way you want it. The other thing you're looking for is the pie. When you jiggle the pie, the middle of the pie should still be just a little jiggly. You don't want the whole pie to be jiggly, it's not cooked. But the inside of the pie, if it's just a little bit jiggly and the outside's a golden brown color that you want, you're pretty much there. You can keep doing it at 5-minute intervals to get it just the right, that golden brown, perfect look that you're looking for, and you'll have a great pie.
The right texture.
It'll be, yes, it'll be the right taste and the texture. Texture is so important with this pie. So once it's, when you cut into it, you want that great pecan pie texture. So we're going to pop this one into the oven, and then we'll check back with you at different intervals and just see how this is progressing.
It's exciting.
Yes. Okay, we're back. We cooked the pie. It's had plenty of time to cool off. Now it's the moment of truth. We're getting ready to cut into it and see what Grandma's recipe tastes like. Okay.
It's looking good.
That feels promising. It feels like it's got a good texture in there. Okay. A little bit of Cool Whip on top?
Yes.
Okay. We'll put a little dollop of Cool Whip there and a little dollop of Cool Whip here. Okay, so we're all ready now. We've got the pie in place. You want to be the first tester?
I do want to be the first one to try.
So what do you think?
Delicious.
Well, that's a good sign. Okay. Now my turn.
So what do you think?
It's like being 10 years old again, sitting in Grandma's kitchen, eating pecan pie. It's absolutely delicious.
It is.
It is.
If you like this video, hit the like button.
If you decide you want to make the pie, the recipe is in the description section below. And if you make it, just put something in the comment section, let us know how it turned out for you. And if you do something different with the crust or a different topping or something on it, different cooking times or something, if you play around, let us know that too. Let us know how it came out. And if you're making it and you run into some problems, you just need some help, just let us know. We'll be glad to help you out if we can.
So are you okay with people sharing Grandma's recipe with others?
Absolutely. Please feel free to share the recipe with everyone that you would like. Knowing that other people were enjoying Grandma's pie would put a smile on her face. Also, if you like the video, make sure you subscribe. There'll be another video coming out shortly that has an absolutely incredible holiday dish that you're going to want to take to all of your holiday get-togethers. That'll be coming out soon, so hit the subscribe button to make sure you get that automatically. Bye.
Bye.
See you next time.